there's this nice sound. Growing up, there was always this idea of if you dig a hole deep enough, just straight down, you'd end up digging all the way out on the other side and ending up in China. Well, that's not exactly accurate because China and the US are both in the northern hemisphere, but it was kind of a fun thing to think about growing up, and you go play outside or go to the beach and you're digging a hole. But in reality, and the reason why I bring this up, is the country of Malaysia is actually closer to where you'd end up than the entire country of China, which is crazy. Hey guys, my name's Jimmy Smiley, and I'm the pitching coach for the Malaysian national baseball team. And this is my channel where I go over how we prepare and how we're preparing remotely for the upcoming 2025 Southeast Asian Games in Bangkok, Thailand. In making my videos and talking to friends and family about Malaysia and this opportunity that I have, it's become apparent that some people don't know exactly where Malaysia is. So I just wanted to make a video real quick showing you guys where Malaysia is and providing you guys some updates that are relevant to the location of Malaysia. The first update is we got some dates and we know when our quote-unquote spring training in November will start. It'll be about a month before the Southeast Asian Games opening ceremony, and the first day of practice is November 8th. The way Malaysia attacks preparation for these games is pretty neat, in my opinion. The government gives everyone that's participating in the games a month off before the games to prepare, and during that month, everyone will travel from their respective locations across Malaysia and all meet up in Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia, and we'll all be staying together in the university dorms there at their training site, and it'll be super fun. I think it's amazing that everyone doesn't have to focus on work. They just get to focus on baseball and all be together, having team meals, team dinners, and just being together around the guys. It creates a bond and it creates teamwork, team chemistry, and cohesion that is necessary in order to succeed in the Southeast Asian Games. So I'm super stoked for it. I cannot wait to meet the players and get to know them and ultimately just be with the team and be in the trenches for a little bit. Now, in order for me from Philadelphia to get out all the way to Malaysia, it is a very long couple days of travel. The country of Malaysia is actually just directly south of China, closer to the equator, and it's a 12-hour time difference. When I was looking at flights, there were actually two different options on how to get to Malaysia. Both options were about the same amount of time, and I could either go fly to the West Coast and then across the Pacific, or I could fly across the Atlantic and then fly over the Middle East and get to Malaysia that way. It's a 12-hour time difference, so it makes sense, but it was kind of funny and something that you kind of don't think about. So my travel plans are actually kind of crazy. My flight is booked. So the first leg of my flight is from Philadelphia to San Francisco. It's about a 6-hour and 20-minute flight. I'll land in San Francisco, hop on a different flight from San Francisco to Singapore, and that's a 17.5-hour flight. It'll be the longest flight I've taken. I've been out to Malaysia before, and I don't think I've taken a longer one than 17.5 hours. It's gonna be brutal. When I land in Singapore, it'll actually be November 6th, even though I took off on November 5th from Philadelphia, and I'll land in the night on November 6th, and then I have a 12-hour layover to wait till the morning flights to Kuala Lumpur, and then I'll fly to Kuala Lumpur. It's about an hour flight, little jumper plane, and I'll land on the 7th in the morning. So I'll leave in the morning on the 5th, land in the morning on the 7th, spend about a day in the air and about another day in layovers. Another update that I got with practice starting on November 8th is our practice schedule. So we're gonna have 2-a-day practices all the way up until we leave for Bangkok, and it'll be 4 hours in the morning from 8:30 to 12:30, a 2-hour break, and then 2:30 to 6:30. The biggest issue I see with this 8 hours of practice a day, which is great, is the fact that Malaysia is unreal in terms of temperature. It's so hot there. And I lived in North Carolina for a little bit. I'm from Los Angeles. I know Los Angeles has dry heat, but it's still got into the 100 and teens out in LA. And North Carolina has some brutal humidity, but Malaysia is different. It is insanely hot there. There's no getting away from it, and there's just no relief out there. When I was out in Malaysia earlier this year to meet the coach, there was actually a heat warning when I was out there, and the heat warning stated that you have to make sure you get shade and water because it is so hot and humid that sweating doesn't work. You know, you sweat, you evaporate, you cool down, you cool off your body, but in Malaysia, you sweat and the water just stays on you. So that's gonna be our biggest issue with the practices, because we're gonna have to train hard, but also train safe and train smart with the heat. With 8 hours a day of practice, we can get a lot done. We're not gonna be practicing that entire time. We're gonna be splitting it up and getting some rest in there and not overexerting ourselves. One of the things that I will implement is a chalk talk session, basically like a little study session where we get the team maybe in a classroom or in the cafeteria or something, or while we're eating lunch. And we're just gonna talk strategy, we're gonna talk relays, double cuts, first and thirds, bunt Ds, signs, all the good stuff that everyone needs to be on the same page for, that doesn't require you actually being out on the field and sweating and grinding. So I'm gonna have a chalk talk session within that 8 hours. I will also be implementing a weightlifting program, watching some of the videos that I've been sent. Some of the guys' lowest hanging fruit in getting better at baseball is just getting stronger and faster, which is great. You know, it's just about work ethic and working in the right ways, and it'll be super easy to attack and get better at, and I'm excited for that part of practice as well. No practice is complete without some conditioning, so we're gonna have some conditioning in there as well. And then we're gonna have some individual work where pitchers are working, throwing bullpens, working with the catchers on framing and different drills. And then the position players will be working on fielding, hitting, that kind of good stuff, base running. So there's gonna be individual work as well. And of course, we're gonna have some team defense. We're gonna be working all of us on the field together, looking at different things, practicing the bunt defense, practicing the first and thirds, relays, double cuts that we talked about in chalk talk, and going over stuff as a team. That stuff is super important. Team defense is not the most exciting thing to be doing at practice, but it is very, very necessary. We did it a lot in high school, a lot in college, and a decent amount when I was playing professionally. It's just necessary to work on different situations that arise in the ball game and prepare for those situations, so it's not your first time seeing it is when you're in the tournament and playing and in the heat of the moment, because that's when you make mistakes. You got to prepare for that stuff. So yeah, anyways, that's a little bit about Malaysia and the geography. It'll be a difficult thing to overcome with the heat, but being in Southeast Asia, everyone's got to deal with it. So we're just going to deal with it in the smartest way possible, given our 8 hours of practice. And I'm looking forward to getting practice plans worked up. I think I get to have a decent say in the practice plans, especially being from the US and having a little bit more experience than some of the players and coaches in Malaysia. And when I get out there, I can't wait to post videos and share what it's like out there and how we're doing as a team. I'll be posting our specific practice plans with the specific sequencing of the different sections of the practice for the first 4 hours and the second 4 hours, and kind of going over my ideas and my thoughts behind the practice plan. Thanks for watching, and keep working hard on your own baseball journey, and stay tuned for ours.